Welcome to the Game of Life, a very special edition this is, because in studio with me, I have someone who comes with a strong spirit of Olympism. Well, he's an Olympian himself, and he has a strong background of a family that's well known to Olympics. This is a man who captained the Team Uganda to the London 2012 Olympics. Welcome to the Game of Life, Mr. Ganzi Mugula.
Thank you very much, Angu Mangusha. It's good to come here. Long overdue. We've been dreaming about podcasting and doing things. I'm really happy to be here with you, Sebo.
Thank you. And you look so smart in that Athlete 365.
This shirt was given to me by the IOC. I've just returned from Lausanne, Switzerland, so they gave us this shirt. So I thought I would put it on and look the part.
You really do.
Yeah.
How do you feel? You look good.
Thank you.
This man, when he is not in water, he is on the Game of Life.
Yeah.
Welcome once again, Ganzi. It's our deep honor and pleasure to have you.
I am favored and loved. Thank you.
So, Ganzi Mugula, captain of Team Uganda London 2012.
Yeah.
We all remember, of course, we remember you getting into that stadium as they counted down the countries, holding that flag, black, yellow, red. And we also remember the last day when Stephen Kiprotich brought that medal in the marathon.
Yeah.
But when you talk Olympics, I think most people think running, boxing. But those of you who know water also see Mike Phelps. But in Uganda, we see Ganzi Mugula.
Yeah.
And this is why we are so proud of you as an Olympian, a captain. And how many years are those? 13 years? Should be 13.
Yeah, it's going to be 13 years.
13 years?
Yeah. In July, it's going to be 13 years. Yeah.
13 years.
Yeah.
How do you feel? Do you miss being once an Olympian, always one. But do you miss being at the games?
So always, every sportsman will tell you they don't miss the training, but they miss the traveling and the competition. So if it was possible to solve a drug and be fit and then do the competition, but no one misses the training.
Yeah.
Yeah, the training is painful. But when you compete and finally achieve the success, then you say the training was worth it. Just like in life, the journey is always tough, but once you succeed and maybe get a degree or you achieve to start a business, the journey is always hard to start. Yeah.
You know, we shall get deep into that London 2012 and several other stories in there. But first, did you wake up and just start swimming or did you start somewhere else? I mean, if you're not born in a family that has access to swimming, personally, I learned swimming from a pond. Do you know a pond?
Yeah.
Where there's fish.
Yeah.
At my school, we would go down there to wash clothes, and somehow we learned swimming. But the swimming of I am not sinking,
yes,
not the breaststrokes.
I know not the strokes and the technicalities.
That's the swimming that we know. Yeah. So when did you get that first dip? Do you remember?
Yeah. So my parents are retired academicians. My dad is a professor of mathematics. His name is Professor Paul Mugambi. He's actually known as the grandfather of mathematics in Uganda.
Okay.
Because he was one of the first Africans, if not the first African, to get a PhD in mathematics. But he's retired now. He's making 90 this year. My mom was a senior lecturer of fine art. Before that at Makerere College School, but then later Makerere University. So we grew up at Makerere University, and for those who know the campus kids, access to facilities, swimming pool. Pool Road is where my home was. And Pool Road is the swimming pool, basketball court, tennis courts, etc. So I had access to these facilities. And I thank God that my parents were in this. So my first dip, I think, I don't remember when I first got into the pool, because the pool was a place where we used to go and play. I mean, as campus kids, you play in the pool and splash around and joke around. So, but before even I got interested into swimming, my passion was actually running, sprinting to be exact. I was a very good sprinter. Actually, I tell people, I am. Because at my age, I can still move quite quickly. So I started with running, 100, 200, and 400. And that gene was in me. The gene came from my mom's side of the family. My mom had an elder brother, but he's now passed away. He was one of the first Olympians in Uganda in 1956, Melbourne, Australia. The Uganda team had only 3 men at the time. Remember, we were still in the colonial times. We hadn't yet got into independence. So the first 3 gentlemen, one was Lawrence Ogwang, elder brother of John Akibwa the Great. His brother was a long jumper. There was Patrick Etolu, a high jumper, a man from Soroti. He was also on that team, a tall guy, was 6'2", I think, 6'3". Then my uncle Benjamin Kiini Nduga, a man from Fumbe clan, for those who are Uganda. He was doing 100 and 200 meters. And my mom used to tell me these folklore stories about him. My mom is a good animated storyteller. So when she was telling me stories about my uncle, this is when I got the idea to become an Olympian. Because there used to be this photo at home of him standing in the Olympic village in their dress code. You know, the Ugandan team had suits and a hat, a white hat.
Yeah.
For those who, if you look and go and do that research, you will see that. So they were standing by the hosting of the Uganda flag. That time it was not the Uganda flag. It was kind of a mixture of the British flag and something and the crested crane. You do that research. So they were standing next to it. And in the Olympic village, every day, teams are welcome to the Olympic village. So it was the Ugandan day. So they dressed in this regalia and they were being welcomed to the village. And he was the team captain. So you can see how history repeats itself after 56 years. So that's why I got this passion to get into sports. And it was natural for me. I was just naturally fast. I started from Kitante Primary School. That's why I went to school all through my primary. And I was always the quickest guy. Even when I was in the lower classes, I was one of the quickest guys in school. I was that quick. After Chitante, I went on to King's College Budo, the Nagalabi Hill. I was there from 1993 to 98. 93 was a very significant year for those who know in Buganda. Is when the coronation of the current Kabaka happened, and I was there live. I was in senior 1. I was there live. So I joined there in King's College Budo. I was in a house called Canada House. Now, some history for us. That Olympian I mentioned for you was in that same house.
No wonder I said you come from a long lineage of Olympians.
Agre Awori, the late, was in Canada House.
Yeah.
There was a gentleman called, he's passed away now, his name was called Amokun Erasmus. He was a sprinter, Canada House. And later he moved to Canada, and that's why he passed away. God has a funny thing of doing things. So Budo was producing a lot of...
And you went to Canada House.
And I went to Canada House. Yes, and I also went to Canada House. My dad was in Canada House. His brother, the late Jimmy Kizito, was in Canada House. My other mom's brother is also a legend in sports. His name is called Sam Walusimbi. Then the cricketers will be happy now.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Though he was in Mutesa House, King's College Budo. So we have this thing in our home. The boys go to Budo. The girls go to Gayaza. My mom was in Gayaza. And all the girls in my family are Gayaza girls. And all the boys are in Budo. King's College. So my elder brother, who also actually attempted to go for the 1984 Olympics in Los Angeles, is a Canadian. I mean Canada House of King's College Budo. My other brother was in another house called Australia. So we have this Budo Gayaza madness.
First stop it there.
Yes.
So this podcast, once it's out, make sure it reaches everyone from Budo and Gayaza.
Correct.
And all of them need to subscribe on our YouTube channel as well. Proceed. Canada House, Australia in there, and then we are going, bringing out that lineage of Olympics.
Yes. So my mom is telling me about this great guy, Benjamin Nduga.
Yeah.
He was born in 1930. I was born in 79. So you can imagine the excitement, the aura. And when you're a kid, you build fantasies about, it's like a superhero in your brain. So he's telling me about this guy. He would run very fast. And I said, I need to run like this guy, because it was always natural to me. So through my life, I knew that I would be an Olympian, but on the running track. So the question is, then everyone asks, but how do you get into the water?
Yes.
Yeah. So because I grew up at Makerere, we had access to sports: football, ring tennis, table tennis, swimming, football. We played all these sports. Choose you now what you want. So the 2 good sports I was good at was in the swimming pool. Because I didn't tell you that our neighbors at Makerere University for a long time, 24 years, is the Rukare, Professor Enoch Rukare. That that name Rukare should be ringing because the current president of the National Olympic Committee, Donald Rukare, is pretty much my brother. I grew up with him. He's 10 years my senior, but our families grew up together. So him, together with my brother Daudi Mugambi, were great swimmers at the time, in their time. So I also looked up to them. So I had a balancing act, running and also swimming.
I get it.
So I get into swimming because at a certain point, Uganda was supposed to be represented in the World Championships in Barcelona in the year 2003. But then Donald Rukari was the president at the time. Then he remembers, but my young brother, you're a good swimmer and we are looking for swimmers.
No, you are too fast.
Yes.
I think you're too fast even in water. Now you want to be too fast here on the show.
Okay, you want me to take it slow. First rewind.
First leave it there because we are yet to go to Barcelona.
Yes.
At home, of course, you've talked about a family and you growing up.
Yeah.
I mean, there must be brothers and sisters as
Yes.
well. You're leaving them out.
Okay.
How did you grow with these young ones? How many are they? How many sisters?
So we are 5 in total.
Yeah.
My elder brother Daudi Mugambi is now retired from Bank of Uganda. There's my other brother in the States now. His name is Bajese Rugunda. You must be wondering how comes the names are not Peter like that. Our parents named us Christian names but Chiganda names. So my brother's name Baje comes from let the little children come to me. For there is the kingdom of heaven. So my mom was very creative that way. Then after comes my sister, who is also in the States, a doctor now. Her name is Sima Narwanga. Then Sima is taken from one of, I think the Psalms or Proverbs, I forget. It says, Sima katonda ye meme and okusima katonda ye meme is my soul. And so my parents are very Christian leaning. My mom is the deep way. And then comes me, Ganzi. Then everyone says, but what is this name Ganzi? Ganzi meaning that Ganzi lwerazi kweteka enju yange lyegwanika eritagwawo.
In English?
That Ganzi is the name, the name, the rock on which I build my shield and hiding place, my treasures filled. It's from a hymn called How Sweet Thy Name, of Jesus sounds. That one in a believer's ear.
I love
so
it.
That's where my name comes from. Then the last born is Salome. I think you all know her in the singing atmosphere here in Uganda. She's a singer. She's Salome Basuta. That's my sister. So that is us. So who are the sportsmen in the family? It was my brother Daudi and my brother Bajet did sports at some point. But generally it's me and my elder brother Daudi who really took sports to a serious level. So that's how we get into sports. But my mom says she did sports also. She was a good sprinter. Yes, she says, of course, I didn't live to see it, but those who give the tales said also she was also a good sprinter. So that gene of moving quickly came from my mom. That one we know.
Okay.
That one we know, yeah.
Now, before we get into swimming, why didn't you proceed with sprinting? I mean, we are looking for sprinters in the country. Our last major sprinter is Davis Kamoga, Atlanta, 1996. You should have taken over. What happened?
Yeah, so I got into sprinting. We started sprinting. The dream, of course, to get to the Olympics. Now, to get to the Olympics, there is a journey. You don't just jump into these Olympics. You need to go to certain competitions to qualify either at All Africa Games level or World Championships. Now, it's still actually a culture now under the Uganda Athletics Federation. They need to decolonize themselves mentally out of this thing to think that Uganda can only run long distances. When you do the historical background of Uganda, I told you that our first runners were sprinters. I've told you my uncle. After him comes Agri Awori, who is a Harvard graduate, but he ran the hurdles, 110 hurdles. Comes Erasmus Amokun, who later dethroned him from King's College Budo. He was a sprinter. We have also people like Indiabaje Felix. We have so many other people who did running. Most of them
and of course,
Farida Chakutemas. We have the Charisimas. We have the Grace Birunjis. We have the Davis Katoma. We have the Musonge Moses. We have Francis Ogola. I can name
and the main man himself.
Yes,
72.
Yes, 72. Jonah Akibua. So we have sprinting in our blood. It was there. That was was our first love. So we struggled with taking a team out. The Athletics Federation didn't put so much emphasis on these things called sprinting. They favored mostly the long distance runners, which is somehow happening now, but I think it's changing. I don't want to blame them a lot because we've seen Tarsis Orogot.
Yeah.
We saw him.
Yeah.
We've seen Shida Lenny.
Yeah.
So they are waking up to this thing that sprinting is coming up. We have the Adoli Haron 400 meters. He's also actually getting on a scholarship now for this LA 2028 for 400 meters. So mostly I was 200 and I was doing 1, 2, and 4, but I loved the 400 because there was a lot of race planning. 400, you don't just run it all out. If you go flat out, you die. If you run it too slow, they'll leave you. So how do I end up leaving this running? I got frustrated. I'll be truthful with you because I never went anywhere. You put in the work, but never travel to go anywhere. Yet these long distance runners are going for all these championships and you never got anywhere. So I was chasing this dream called Olympics. So I'm saying, but how will I get to Olympics? These guys are not putting me on the plane to go anywhere. But then I remembered,
So the Olympics was the end game.
Yes,
whatever you were doing.
I need to emulate Uncle Benjamin in Nduga. You understand? I need to be like him.
Yes.
And kids always emulate what they see.
Yes.
So I say, okay, I have this other thing in me, in the blood, which is called swimming. Why don't I jump into this thing called
How
swimming?
old are you at this time?
Now, swimming, already I was doing this thing dual career. I used to do swimming and running. So
you just have to decide.
Yeah,
now,
just
let
have
me
to
focus
decide.
now.
Choose you now. Do I jump this side or this side?
Okay.
So I think the person who convinced me to jump into this is Donald Rokare. We grew up as neighbors, as I told you.
Good friend of ours.
Yes, and he wanted to constitute a team for World Championships to go in Barcelona, Spain. But I had to do a national trial first to be selected. We said, but brother, I know you're quite quick. Even with your general fitness, really, you can come and cause a havoc in the water. So I got into the water. We went, I think at the time it was ISU, International School of Uganda, went and swam the trials. The rest is history. I got onto the team. Now as a young man, excitement, first time to Europe. I said, wow, this can be interesting. Swimming can take me places, sports. I can get into these places. I said, I think swimming is the thing which is going to let me go into this thing called Olympics. But I didn't let go of running. Why? Because for those who know sports physiology, both sports help each other physiologically.
Yes.
Swimming helps you with good respiratory, good lungs, and good mechanics, but also it helps running, and running helps swimming. The muscle groups help each other. So I kept running and doing swimming at the same time. So I got into swimming, and the rest is history. I got into this thing, swimming full blow, and said, okay, I think I'm a swimmer now. Let me get into swimming to get to the Olympics, which is not easy, of course, as you know.
And you qualify, of course, for Barcelona. Had you done many competitions in the country before that?
No, mostly before Barcelona, what had I done? 1999, I went for the All Africa Games in Johannesburg, South Africa.
Your first trip out of the country?
Yeah, my first trip out of the country. Now, a good story, I tell you here. There's my coach called, should I say the name? His name is, what was his name? What is his name? Now it goes out of his...
It's okay.
Yeah.
You'll get it later.
So we used to train at Makerere swimming pool. For those who know, that pool is 25 yards, not meters long. Yards, which in mathematics it translates to 23.85 meters.
So you have about...
So when you swim back and forth, that's 47 meters. If we just take it flat, 48 meters. But I was going to swim 50 meters freestyle. Now at the All Africa Games, it's a 50-meter pool. So that's one go. So when he was recording our entry times, he wrote the entry times that were making the Makerere pool, which were way faster, because it's shorter. Now, when they entered our times and were really young, in 1999, I was probably just making 19, 20, because I told you I was born 79. The people, all these great swimmers from South Africa, I remember there was Ryk Nithling, there was Roland Skorman, all those great swimmers were saying, a 20-year-old kid, probably 19, from this country called Uganda, a country which is not even a swimming nation, is posting this time. We need to go and see this guy physically. So everyone, I was a superstar. Not because everyone needed to come and see. And they looked at me, skinny me. Even now, I'm fatty. Skinny me. They said, so this guy is the one who can swim these times. We need to see him in the pool. So here I am. They put you on, based on your entry time, it determines how you're going to be seated in the heats. So here I am, they put me in the heats. I used to call them the washing machines. Why? Because when you got into the water, their legs flapped so fast, they created bubbles.
Yeah.
They looked like the washing machine was washing clothes. So they put me on the starting blocks. Count your marks. Beep. And that's the last time I saw this gentleman.
They were disappointed.
No, that's the last time I saw them. They were so fast.
Oh.
That was the last time I saw them.
Okay.
They were off.
You went in with them.
In with them, and that's the last time I saw them.
And they were wondering, where is this kid?
Wait, Katinao, where is the time you entered? You said you were running this time. So that's when we got to know what yards and meters mean. But it didn't...
Including the coach.
Including the coach.
Was that a national coach?
Yes, he was the national coach at the time.
Okay.
Yes, at that level. But a learning curve.
Yeah, learning curve.
But it didn't break my spirit. Anyone would have said, but why am I struggling in this thing? These guys are beating me. I needed to get this Olympic thing. I didn't want to give up. So that's why I started with the journey, 1999.
Okay.
First time to qualify to go to under the Ugandan flag. Yeah. And I remember the people at the time, we had a football team, Fimbo.
All Africa Games.
Yes, Fimbo was on the team. Yeah. Ibra Sekaja. Yes.
Oh, that team that went all the way.
I don't remember how far they went.
We should have done more. We should have done more. That's the most... Apart from 1978 on the continent, of course, we have under 20 who made the finals of AFCON the other day. But in terms of the aura and the players that were there, that was a team.
Yeah, that was.
You were part of that team.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was on that team. It was
Team
a great
Uganda,
team.
yeah.
Team Uganda. Yeah. Yeah. So that's how I first get onto the Ugandan
And then
scene.
your first major tournament, of course, there's all Africa Games, but international.
International was the World
Barcelona.
Championships, Barcelona, 2003.
Okay.
Yeah. I was a team captain. I think this leadership thing of...
You've been a captain like forever.
Yeah, I've been a captain everywhere. Captain for all sorts of teams.
Okay.
Sometimes I even forget which ones.
How many World Championships have you done?
So I did 2003 Barcelona, Spain. I did 2009 Rome, Italy. I did 2011, that was Shanghai, China. Yeah.
Rome, Italy. At this time, what's your best? What are you posting? What are your best times?
At the time of...
before Roma.
Before Rome, I think we were swimming 28 seconds.
28 seconds. And then Rome, you break
Rome,
the national record.
26:42. I remember that time. That's the time when we were swimming in those band costumes. For those who remember, there were those special costumes that had some sort of buoyancy.
Yeah.
So it was a full costume. It used to take us 20 minutes to put it on. When you got it out of the suit, it was a small leotard, but when you put it on, it was expanded. But it took like 3 people to help you squeeze into it. It took you 20 minutes to dress up. Yeah, and you had to put on special gloves to put it on. It was a whole process, but it was fun times. Yeah.
So as you talk to me, it looks like your mentor in this whole thing is Olympics. Your mentor is the target. Did you have any mentor in swimming that you wanted to emulate? Yeah,
so my brother in the house first was in-house. My brother, remember, vied for 1984 Olympics, Los Angeles. But again, he didn't travel because of Ugandan things. Money disappeared. I'll be truthful. He didn't go on the team. So it frustrated him and he just dropped everything. But he was really slated to go for 84. But 84, we had a swimmer, the late Dan Murumba, went and swam the 100 meters freestyle there. I don't remember the time he posted. So that's a person that Uganda sent to go. But my brother was supposed to be on that team. Yeah, so he was my first idol, and of course Donald Rukade were neighbors. I mean, pretty much almost like my brother. So those were my first local idols before we got to the global idols who later came, like the Michael Phelps, then the great Ian Thorpe. The nickname was called
all I remember
Torpedo,
is the Bugos,
and he used to have that black suit with a yellow cap from Australia. And I met him in Barcelona, Spain. I have a very big framed picture in my sitting room. I took a picture with him, and he used to have size 17 feet. It was 12 inches long, his foot.
So your first international idol to meet is Thorpe?
Yeah, Torpedo. Ian Thorpe.
Just when you met him, he's in your face, like...
Yeah, I remember he had just swum they call it the race of the century. Why? The rest of the century, because it had Ian Thorpe, Torpedo. Michael Phelps had just come on the scene as a young man. And then there was a great man called Alexander Popov, for those who know swimming. He was a Russian great. And so that was the rest of the century. Everyone was, now bets were saying, is it going to be this guy with the long feet? Then there's this new kid on the block called Michael Phelps. And then there's this Russian guy. He had a smooth freestyle. almost no splashing, but very fast.
I can almost see
His stroke was so technically perfect. Just an amazing swimmer. So, but of course, later I think the guy who won the race was Alexander Popov. He won the race. But Ian Thorpe, I later caught him. I had to pass through some back doors to catch him, and I caught him, and he was happy to take a picture with me, and I have it in my sitting room there. Yeah, and my kids always look at it wondering, "Wow, who is this Muzungu with daddy?" But I think when they grow up, they will later understand. When they see the video of the great Thorpedo, then they will understand who this great man was. Yeah.
And at the World Championships in Rome,
Yeah.
you don't just get the national record,
Yeah.
but you also meet your other idol.
Yeah, so for those who don't understand, at World Championships, we mix and mingle with these world champions because in the warm-up pool, we train with everyone. When you're warming up, you can be swimming and Michael Phelps is next to you in the next lane, and you're saying, "Hey, superstar."
Yeah.
Yeah, so I met Michael Phelps. At the time, there was the lady who was called Dara Torres from America. There was the current IOC president, Kirsty Coventry. I didn't tell you we were very good friends. She was there in 1999 at the All Africa Games. Yes, her journey for Olympics began in 1992, Barcelona, Spain. Olympics. So we were together, we were friends for a long time. We are colleagues and we know each other. So we're there. At the time also, on the ladies' side, I think there was a lady by the name, now I forget, Inga de Bruin from Netherlands. These were the great names. And of course, the gentleman who, the controversy between Michael Phelps and the gentleman from Serbia, Kavic Milorad, who touched the world first. Remember that there was that saga, and they had to use a camera who touched the world first, and then that was a saga in 2009. But it repeated itself. Before that, 2009, it had happened in 2008 in the 100 meters butterfly. For those who remember, when Michael Phelps was stretching like this, and everyone was saying who touched first, and then of course the wall, because the wall have sensors, we knew that Michael Phelps' finger had touched and inflicted a 3-pound force on the wall. So they touched at the same time, but he inflicted more pounds of force on the wall. So the wall registered his time fast in microseconds. 1 microsecond.
So is that what we would call like a photo finish in athletics?
Yes, photo finish in athletics, exactly. But then the history repeated itself again in Rome in the same race, 100 meters butterfly. But there, Michael Phelps won it clearly again by 2 microseconds. So it was close, but it was happy times in swimming. Really happy times.
So what was your best race? Like
100 meters freestyle. Sorry, 50 meters freestyle. The one lap dash. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 2003, then Rome. In between, did you do any other World Championships?
Now in between, I was doing. There was also I attended the first Islamic Games, Jeddah, in Saudi Arabia, 2005. All Africa Games in Algeria, 2007. Both of those games, I was the captain. Again, I'm now remembering. 2006, I've just remembered my first Commonwealth Games,
Yes.
Melbourne, Australia. Oh, how could I forget? Where
With
Nzikuru, Boniface Kipro, and Mubiru the boxer.
Yes.
Those were the medalists. And I remember those were great games. Oh, it was great fun in Australia. Which other games did we have there between there? I forget. Yeah, those were the games we attended between there. Yeah.
And at every point, Olympics.
Yeah.
In your head.
In my head. Yeah, every 4 years, I need to be ready for the next cycle. Yeah. Yeah.
Wasn't it frustrating that?
Yeah, but I have naturally this thing of never give up. Again, I'm like,
because 2004.
Yeah, I begin
2008.
chasing the journey in 2000, Sydney, I failed.
Yeah.
So 2004 is Athens, I try again, 2008, and then 2024. But as I said, I have this spirit. I use 2 mottos. One for Gayaza, never give up. Then one for Buddha, Gachari Mabaga. That the struggle has just begun, the struggle continues. So when you marry those two mottos, you have to always be aiming for higher. It's the same thing I use in life. Always, if you have a passion and you have a dream, chase it, and you'll achieve it finally. Yeah.
And finally, it comes in 2012. But that was, at this point, are you feeling like, when is it happening?
Yeah, this was the last card. Like when you're playing a game of cards, this was my last card.
Yeah.
So I didn't tell you that all these other times when I'm training to go for the Olympics, I didn't have a coach. I was self-coaching. I thought I was very smart and could coach myself. But sometimes...
How do you coach yourself? Did you do research?
Yes, you think you do the research and find the training programs, and then you do the training programs. But you think You can coach yourself, but you're forgetting you can't see yourself from outside in. You need that eye that can see the faults you're making. Are you kicking properly? Are you pushing off the wall in the pushing off the wall in the right way? What is your reaction time? Are you too slow to get off the blocks? Those things you might not be able to see with your naked eye. So later I got a friend of mine. He's now in an international school in Saudi Arabia. Yes. His name is Isaac Ruenzo. He became my coach. He was a teacher at ISU at the time.
This is ahead of London.
Yes, ahead of London.
Okay.
So he becomes my coach, and we chased together this dream called Olympics 2012 London. And we chased the dream.
These World Championships, how are you going there? Is it a wild card? Are you hitting the times?
No, all these things are wild cards, but in Uganda, I've got to do a national trial. Yeah, they do a national trial to choose the FINA, of course, at the time called FINA, not now called World Aquatics. FINA used to give us free tickets, but they need with conditions that you choose certain swimmers who have a certain threshold. So that we needed to do national trials, and if you fit the bill, then you go on the team. Yeah.
Help explain to us why wild cards. We are not that very good. Like, why wild cards?
Yeah, in swimming we have 3 levels of qualifications. There is the A swimmers who hit the A time. People like Michael Phelps, they hit the A time. The A times are really the elite times.
That's like test.
Let me make it simple for us who know athletics. Let's say that 100 meters, which is a race everyone looks out for, that let's say the qualifying mark is 10 seconds, timed electronically.
Yeah.
So that is the A time. B time might be 10.3. Then there's the third level, which is called universality, also known as wild card.
Yes.
Here they say choose your best runners who can come for these games. Now in my time, for the wild card, I had to be the best 75 men in the world.
After A
and B have been chosen. After they have chosen the Michael Phelps and the next swimmers in the world, then they choose from us 75 best times
in the world. So you were among those.
Yeah, which is probability 0.0.
That's for the qualification of London.
Yes, London, which is 0.0000.
Yeah.
And they must have participated in the World Championships prior to those Olympic Games, which is the Shanghai, China 2011.
I get it.
So I had to be there in 2011 Shanghai. But to even get there, I had to first do a national trial here in Uganda to be selected, to be on that team. So still, it's not an easy gate to walk through. Yeah. So it was really, and even after going to Shanghai, you have to wait for them to choose the guys of A, choose the guys of B, choose even the relay teams, then you're chosen the last people, almost the last people.
The whole process
so you're
is
biting your
mentally
nails.
draining.
Now, during that time, a guy can go for a certain competition somewhere who you're competing with and swim a faster time than you. You see how you fall out of the 75 men. So, Ganzi had to look for a competition after Shanghai, China, to go and test himself to see if he can improve the time of Shanghai, China. This place was called Sicily, Italy. In the year 2011 again. So, UOC, I asked them for permission to send me to go to Sicily, Italy. So they put me on the plane and I go. Now it was a very interesting thing. I get on the plane. Now to get to Italy, for those who didn't know, to get to Italy, there are a lot of jumps, aeroplane jumps. So I remember I used which airline? I think from here I might have used Ethiopian. No, I might have used, I forget, because I think I went through Schiphol Airport, Amsterdam. No, I went through Rome, the Rome airport called they call it Fiumicino. So I went through Europe and then ended up in Fiumicino, Amsterdam, then Fiumicino, but then I needed to catch a ship.
A ship or a boat?
A ship.
Okay.
Call it an MV.
Okay.
To go to this island called Sicily. For those who know Sicily, it's of course synonymous with the mafioso of the time, of course, Godfather, the movie, etc. So anyway, when I reached, doesn't the ship die on the day I reach? It had mechanical problems. So I waited a full day. I didn't sleep in a hotel. I slept at the dock. Hey, Uganda, film. I slept at the dock, waited for the ship. They worked on it, and the next day I boarded the ship, got onto the ship. I arrived on the day of competition. no rest time.
So you arrived
I arrived like on the day of the race.
and you went to the pool.
And I just convinced the brain that you're not tired. I had to convince the brain. You should not, all the thing is mental. Just tell the brain you're not tired, you're fine, you're going to be fine.
Uh-huh.
I arrived on the day, put on the swimming costume and jumped into the pool and swam the race. And I swam the exact time I swam at Shanghai, China, which means I was fitter in Italy because I had interested the body.
Yes.
Yeah, I was fitter. So I posted exact, and when I say exact time, in seconds and microseconds. So I had to wait a sitting game and pray because there was no other competition in the world where I could go. Most of them, you don't just enter them, you have to be invited. So I waited with prayers, fingers crossed, and then that's how, when they said finally later, the email came, we're happy to tell you that you've made it. It's as if I had qualified to go to Harvard University for fun.
That's how important.
After the hard work, after all those
after
cycles,
a 10-year wait.
yes, after 2000
and
to 2004,
Yeah.
4 to 2008, 8 to 2012, it was the most fulfilling thing for a sportsman, for those who have ever qualified for anything in their life.
You arrive in London. That's
Yes.
London 2012 Olympics.
Yeah.
One of my best, I think, that I think could be my best that I've watched. I really enjoyed that one. Of course, the team came with its issues. We wrote stories of, too many officials who are not qualified to be with certain games, but they were there, a good number of them civil servants. And you guys are there. There's not much coming in terms. At the time, I don't think there was much in terms of money and per diem. You'd get money, but not as at least today. There's much more today. We go on. We had hopes in Kipsiro.
Yeah.
Didn't work out.
Yeah. We thought
and
the
then
boxers would do something.
also didn't work out. And then all these stories of the poor preparations. It was really shrouded in quite some bad circumstances. You go into the pool. You also, I should say, just participate as an Olympian.
Yeah.
Swimming in your first Olympics.
Yeah.
As the captain, and that's it. But the responsibility of carrying that torch, the flag, as a captain.
Yeah.
Just take us there emotionally. How was that?
So God is very interesting. Me, I was chasing this thing called Olympics. So in my mind, after that email that came in, I said, finally I've got in. Then 1 week passes. And then Colin Semanda, who was working as an administrator at the NOC at the time, says, by the way, I fronted your name. You're going to be the team captain. I said, Chichi, team captain again. Because you see, all through these other competitions, I was almost always the team captain. So I was a team captain at the Islamic Games in Jeddah, 2005. I think I was a deputy team captain in 2007 Algeria Games. I was a team captain for swimming in 2003. I was the team captain, deputy team captain in 2006 Melbourne. I was there. So this time Olympics is a big thing because now the world is going to be tuning in, all these billions of people watching me.
And we watch that ceremony.
Exactly. And the whole world tunes in because everyone wants to see their country. What are they dressed in? Do they look smart? Who is the team captain? And all these other things, you understand? So this thing called team captain didn't dawn on me when they told me. It dawned on me on the time when I was about to walk into the arena. This is when it dawned on me. That's when it got into my brain that Ganzi, here is the moment. Because all through this time, yes, team captain. Because before we went to State House to be flagged off by His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Yes, he gave me the flag, but it hadn't yet got into that I'm the team captain. Yes, I'm going with this team, but it hadn't yet sat into this small brain of mine that had been given this great honor in the history of Uganda to be the team captain. So all through and these team captain things, of course, with the challenges I told you, the monies, I think they were paying us $70 per day. Was it $80 per day? Yes, $80 per day for 10 days or something like that. Or was it $70 per day for
something around that?
$70 per day for 14 days. Yes, something like that. That's what they were paying us, which came to $1,080 all in through. So, but we tried to ask for more money and the like, and nothing was forthcoming. It frustrated the athletes. And then also, I think based on the budget that we're running with, we're running on a deficit of 200 million less. We're lacking 200 million less. And someone later made a joke that that's the money they gave Kiprotich. The president gave to Kiprotich when he went to State House, and people were saying, "Eee." You understand?
Yeah.
And before I get into this London thing, this is my thoughts about reward especially for these people called Olympians. I'm very passionate about Olympians.
Yes.
If I was the head of state, and for example, Andrew Mwangusha comes with a medal for 100 meters athletics, yes, I give him his money for gold medal. I would reward everyone some small little money, because gentlemen and ladies, to qualify for these games is not easy, because the whole village would have had a whole host of Olympians, more than 1,000 in names, who have qualified for these games, but they're not even more than 300 in number since 1956 when you do the mathematics. Yes, some have been repeated, some have done it, like Harim has done it thrice and the like, but when you do the mathematics, they're not even more than 200. There are very few. It is like to get into the IOC member. You don't just get into it's a special group. You understand? So if I was in that position, I would give them this remuneration in some point of view to appreciate and say thank you for this. But to answer your question now about the captainship, so they prepare me. So before, on the day of, first of all, in the Olympic Village, every day a different group of countries is welcomed into the Olympic Village. So I think it was Team Uganda, Burundi, which country, which I forget. I remember Burundi well because that's our neighbor. So they welcomed us. So you dress you can choose what to dress, either in your skit or in your regalia. So we put on our kanzu and busutis and bitenjis and went for our ceremony within the Olympic Village. They welcomed us, acrobats, they sang for us our national anthem, spoke about the Olympism, Olympic movement and the like. We took pictures, the mayor of the city spoke to us and the like, and all these people. Even I think that Sebastian Coe was there because that was his thing, and he was a big champion of the London Games, for those who remember, and that was a great day. So the next day, I remember, was the opening ceremony. They had to prepare us. This is how we shall be moving in procession from the Olympic Village. Then we shall walk. They order us according to the English alphabet, and Uganda is letter U. But within that, there's a camaraderie. You're mixing with different people, because I remember we were next to Turkey. I think Turkey was ahead of us. Then we had the Uzbekistan people. Then I remember we also had Ukraine. We met Sergei Bubka, took photos with him. So we're mingling freely, and we're moving procession, just saying moving in procession, walking, but you're mixing, exchanging cards, exchanging what they call pins. We used to have country pins. But at the time we didn't have OLY pins. This pin is for Olympian. So we're exchanging country pins, and it was a good vibe. But it hadn't yet dawned on me in this small brain that I'm about to enter an arena whereby there are billions of people watching.
And the commentator would announce your name.
Yes. So they gave me this flag holder sash, if I can hold it, and I kept it for history's sake. I was supposed to give it back, but I refused to give it back.
You still have it?
I said, you guys are joking. When am I ever going to be a captain of Olympic team? Musaga. I refuse to give back the sash. So I have two sashes for the flag where you put the pole. One for the Islamic Games 2005, Saudi Arabia. I remained with it. I refused. And then also the Olympic Games, because history, there's no way I'm going to find this thing. You can't replicate this thing. So they gave me this sash where I'm going to put. They gave me orders, which stand in this square. So they told me stand in this square. They even separated me away from the team. This way, stand in the square, stand here, and be ready for the cue. So there's a guy with his mic on. We're ready. So be ready. So he'll be saying, so I'll count you down. 1, 2, 3, and come in. So you count. Now that's when it dawned on me. This is when you feel you want to go on susu. Because as you know, nerves, butterflies, then you start thinking about things. But what if I don't walk very properly in this council and I step in it and fall? You start thinking all the wrong things. You understand?
Okay.
Because they think Africa, this man's brother bring the Olympic team. So I was supposed to signal to him, thumbs up. You see, thumbs up. But later people thought I was saying movement oil. You understand? But me, I was saying thumbs up. That was a signal to say
your
to my
brother.
brother. So he was going to say, once
You
you see a
didn't
guy
know-
of
you-
Uganda
you didn't
doing
warn
thumbs
us.
up, yes, doing thumbs up, that is my brother. So
Yeah.
anyway, I stand in the square, count me down with my 3, I get in 2, and flashes. Because they darkened the arena, but flashes, and then all these lights, flashes, people taking pictures, and I'm walking in, and beside me were some ladies, of course, there were British ladies, holding our team word saying Uganda. Besides, for those who you can remember that picture, and it's on the internet there if you go to Google. So the Thomas Bach, or no, at that time actually it was not Thomas Bach, it was the late Jacques Rogge. Yes, they were sitting up there because their place where they were sitting was well lit. You could see them. So I was waving in their direction. That we're waving and waving here, Team Uganda. And of course I knew, and I'm sure on TV they're saying, and a commentator saying, and that's the Ganzi Mugula, swimmer Uganda, probably gave a quick CV about me.
Yeah.
And it ended, I don't know, it was for a few seconds, but I appeared. And everyone was happy, and then the internet exploded. Facebook, and remember, Facebook had just become a new thing. Facebook and all these things exploded, and everyone was very proud of me, and it was a great thing. I was an instant celebrity of sorts everywhere. Yeah,
Wow.
it was a great thing. Yeah, up to now, I look and say, I was team captain. I think I've not understood the honor that was given to me up to this day. I've not probably fathomed this good thing.
And then you do your swim.
Yeah, then I do my swim again to get into the arena. You see, you're training every day. You're even swimming in the pool where you're going to train. But when that arena fills up with people and the cameras face you like this and they say, hit number 5, laying this from Uganda is Ganzi Mugula, is when you feel now is toilet time.
Yes.
Toilet time, there is no turning back. You can't fake a death and say, I've died. Don't worry. So again, the moment only fathomed into my brain is when I got onto the blocks when they said, count your marks.
Oh.
Is when I said, I'm at the Olympic Games. This whole thing was a dream. Yeah, it was all a dream. It was all a dream.
You were there.
Yeah.
When Stephen Kiprotich won that Uganda's
Very interesting
only
story.
second medal since 1972, John Akibua in the
40 years. I told people 40 years.
Yes.
40 years like Israelites.
How was
coming
it?
out of
Just
wilderness.
how was it? Tell us a quick
So
story.
on the D-Day,
Yeah.
the day before D-Day, most of us had finished our games. So we went out for a party. It was time to relax. The Olympic Village is about relaxing. So we went out to the discotheque.
And we had given up about
yeah,
medals.
people had given up about medals because Kipsiro in 5K and 10K, things had refused.
Yeah.
It was not a good day in the laboratory, as we said.
Yeah.
So now, and people had not known about Kiprotich. But some of us knew. Why do I say us? Myself, the late Nwagawa Godfrey. I had been following Kiprotich and had seen how I was running. And if the odds were right and the temperature was right, and he did his race planning right, he could be on podium. But me, I didn't know that he would be podium. Top podium.
And the manner in which
at least bare minimum 3
bronze.
3.
Yeah.
So we went out on the night. We partied so hard in a certain discotheque. I even don't remember it, but all I knew that the DJ was Usain Bolt. So we partied hard. So we came back. We failed to wake up very early. We thought we promised ourselves to wake up very early to be on the running course so that we'd be situated where we shall be shouting Kiprotich Uganda. But we slept. We slept through it. As you know, we over-partied. We slept through it, so we remained in the village. Now, in the Ugandan quarters where we're situated, and I loved where they put us. Always Uganda, I love where they put us. We're always very close to the exit where you can access the buses, but very close to the dining hall where you can access the food. But anyway, I sidetrack. I come back. So anyway, on the D-Day, we wake up and say, you know what? Twebase nnyo tuzukuserete. So we pull out our TV in the common room. They call them common rooms. We say we're going to watch the race from here. We tune in. Now we wake up. We're with the Captura crew at that time. We sit down. Everyone is tuned in. We go and have a breakfast quickly. We sit down, and you could bring even some stuff from the dining hall. So some guys brought their cornflakes and the like. We sit down. Some of us are still in boxers. I was in a boxer only.
Okay.
We watched those 2 hours, and was it 2 hours, 8 minutes? I forget even the time we posted. We watch. So sometimes in the beginning of the marathon, it has begun. Say, okay, we're okay. We started doing other things. And we had a room where we could go and play Xbox. So we played an Xbox. So around the 20 kilometers into the race, people have started dropping off, but our man is still there. Say, Chandibanga, we are going to medal you people. We sit. We sit and say what? Let's sit out these remaining 22 kilometers. We sit there, out those things, we go, we are there. People are analyzing. Different people are analyzing. The captured people are speaking in their Sabay things. Say, Mogera Bichebio, tell us. What are you saying? We think we can. If it doesn't, it's okay. We start supporting. People start falling off. We reach 30 kilometers. It looks now like this thing might be real, because now they were left around 4 guys. So, Chandibanga, this thing, he just now needs to plan to be in top 3.
Yeah.
I can assure you, I was not counting him on the top of the podium. Then the man breaks. He decides to say, Nzengeze, I've gone, come what may. We almost ran mad. It's as if we had won already. We cheered him on, wasn't it, from 37 kilometers?
Yes.
We cheered him on from 37 kilometers up to 42 and 190.
And he was smiling.
And 193 meters. We cheered when the man ended the race. Now in my madness.
Please don't tell me you went out in your boxer.
Yes. Uganda quotas were up here because up we had Nigerians who are basketball players. Most of them were from the NBA. Later, I got to know that from the NBA because one of them is my friends now. He's also the outgoing athletes commission in Nigeria. I ran down the staircase. I even didn't use the lift. I went outside and said, "We have done it. We have got it." People were looking at me saying, what is wrong with this guy? We have done it. Uganda has done it. I went running around in my boxers.
You were not aware, were you?
No, you see, when you're full of adrenaline, it was when the scientist Archimedes said, Eureka, I've found it. After he figured out how buoyancy works and the like, you understand?
Yeah.
How we figured it out, an experiment works. Said, Eureka, I've found it, because he ran out naked, you understand? Sometimes that's how mad sports is. It's like a drug.
Yeah.
I ran outside in my boxers. People are even taking pictures with me. I don't know about these pictures will appear on the internet one day. I don't know. You understand?
But what a moment.
I mean,
it tells you as you speak to me, I'm like,
because for me, I'm saying, I've been the captain that has happened in my thing. You understand what it means?
Yeah.
It has happened after 40 years, which is synonymous with the Israelites coming out of the wilderness. For me, I was even looking at it prophetically. You understand what I'm saying? It was amazing. It was amazing.
And wow, it's quite interesting to relive it. After London Olympics,
Yeah.
did you step out of the water for good?
Yeah, so I swam one more time in Istanbul, short course. For those who don't know, short course is in the 25 length pools. So I swam one more time. And on the team, it was me, then Kathleen Noble, Olympian, 2-time Olympian in rowing. She was a swimmer. Joshua Ekirikubinza, Conrad Gaira. Yes, that was the team. Yeah, that was the team. That was the team. We went. So I swam one more time in that year. It was in December, in winter time. I remember in Istanbul, Turkey. We had a great time in the winter. It was a great experience to go out and swim in the winter. Yeah.
And then you transition.
Then I transition
into sports.
Yeah. So I get into sports administration by becoming the athletes chairperson in the Uganda Olympic Committee. So I've just retired now in 2025 after 13 years.
Actually, I thought you still were until your beautiful wife told me that you are just now a member.
Yeah, I'm just a member on the Athletes Commission.
But you've been that since 2013.
Yeah, 2013. So the IOC has rules that you cannot do it for 3 Olympic cycles, which is 12 years, which I have done. So I couldn't vie for the position again. Okay. I could only be a member. But it has been a good journey.
And you do all this while having a job in the
Yes, I
corporate
didn't
world.
mention to people might be thinking, but was he only swimming?
Yeah.
Now, I didn't tell members that I studied a degree at campus. It was at a Bachelor of Science in computer science and mathematics. I did a double major, which qualified me to go enter into Stanbic Bank. I joined Stanbic Bank in 26 November 2003. I'm going to make 22 years.
So all these years you're doing these things?
Yeah, I'm doing a dual career.
How do you explain to Stanbic that you want to be
Now,
aware?
I love Stanbic for this.
Yeah.
Not to make for them a kalango. There's no corporate company in this country, unless I'm wrong, which can allow you to do a sporting career full time, but also work for them. So they have a special leave. So at the time, they used to give me, as long as I alerted them that I have a certain competition X prior, they would allow me to go. And the person who used to sign my special leave, as long as I had a special letter from the Federation, was the MD at the time. So the MD at the time was a gentleman from Kenya called Kitili Imbathi. Yeah. He was the one who used to sign my letters, and he loves sports because he used to play golf, for those who know. So he used to love signing, "Oh, Ganzi, why are you going this time?" He had a British accent. "Why are you going this time?" And so he always used to love signing my letters. So that's how I used to end up going for these sports events. Even now, when I'm going for engagements under the IOC, because I'm a facilitator for the Athlete Career Plus, which is Life After Sports. I still use the same type of leave, the special leave. I think I'm the only one who uses it in Stanbic. So Stanbic had this special leave configuration for me, where I could do this thing and take special leave. And I think it gave them a good thing. So, I didn't give you a story. How could I have forgotten this?
Tell me.
On the day of my race, it was announced all over Stanbic Bank in all our 93 branches at the time that our own Ganzi Mugula will be swimming. It was a rule. Work stopped during my race. It stopped for 26 seconds.
Did you know that prior, or they told you
No,
after?
they told me after this that whatever day we work on here was Sebuwangi. Work stopped. Even the people who were in the lines being served, they told them, "Please, our clients,
bear with us.
Bear with us. We have our own who is going to do something on the television."
Yeah.
And everyone stopped. Do you see how God gives you honor when you don't know? God stopped time.
We'll talk to Stanbic about the Kalango on the Game of Life.
Yes.
Since they've got some good mileage here.
Yeah.
But that whole thing of dual career.
Yeah.
But in between, I mean, there's got to be family. Family comes in.
Yeah.
And you got... tell me, because...
Yeah, so...
It seems like you got more than enough from sports. I don't know.
Yeah, so sports... So I got into this Stanbic thing 2003, go through the years. Then I met my current wife, Batenga Naikisozi. Then, of course...
Through sports?
So sports, later, she has always had a love for sports through basketball. Because in her own right, she had thought that she should be an Olympian through basketball. Yes. But now we're in Uganda, we're not so yet big on team sports. We've just started waking up to this thing of netball and rugby, because it has started waking us up. So she didn't make it for Olympic Games because our eye wasn't there. It was on athletics and boxing, etc. So she didn't make it. So we later got married in the year 2016 is when we got married. So I began a family and we got into this marriage thing. We've been in marriage since now. So I began my small family with my 2 boys now. One is in P1 and one is about to get out of nursery. Very super active.
Two boys.
Full of energy.
They're all headed for Budo?
Now either they're all heading for Budo. We'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see.
How much supportive has your wife been in your journey?
Oh, so she was there at the Olympic Games during my time.
Okay.
Yeah, she had been supporting me all through the World Championships and she was championing me. She was there in Rome, Italy. She traveled from America because she had been in America for 20 years. She just moved back to settle down here. So she had been out there. So she joined me in Rome, Italy at the World Championship. It was great fun. For those who don't know Rome has a great history with all the ancient art and all the Colosseum. So it was great to mix this thing of history. And then she joined me again in London for the Olympic Games and to support me and champion me and give me that support to work with me. And also for my mental support, because I was dealing many mental things in London who were not happy about the money, I remember we went to the Olympic Games. We went in what the Ugandans call layer. We went in just normal dress code, no kit. Our kit found us there late. It came much later, almost at the tail end of the games, because we're always tired of dressing in jeans. And people were wondering, are they Team Uganda or are these guys just tourists? You understand? But later the Puma, because we were under Puma at the time, thanks to the Jonah Kibwa. For those who didn't know, he worked for Puma after 72 games, after he was found in Kakamega camp. He was later picked up by Puma to go to work for Puma. I digress a bit. I like history.
Yeah.
I bring you back. So Puma dressed us, and we later received that kit. So she was my rock there to support me and give me that mentor push. Yeah. So it was a great games. I didn't tell people that my roommate was the great Edwin Ekering. I call him great because he qualified for Olympic Games twice a time. 2012 and 2016, he would have made it for the next 2020 games, badminton.
Yeah.
But because, again, Ugandan, because we were disorganized, he could have gone and been facilitated to go for a certain competition to get points. For racket games, for those who don't know, you need to garner up points so that you're ranked. So he always was ranked number 1 in Africa. He was really a very good badminton player. Yeah.
Amidst all this, Ganzi, correct me if I'm wrong, we still do not have a world standard swimming pool in the country, do we?
Yes, we do not have a standard Olympic sized pool in the country. There, right now, the last I heard, we're close to acquiring the land where that thing is going to sit. So the plan, the deal is, and the deal I say between the Uganda Aquatics, which used to be formerly known Uganda Swimming Federation, and World Aquatics, which was formerly known as FINA. They told us to find the land, we'll build you the pool for free. So the onus was on us, or is on us, to find the land, which we're soon to dust off with the government. I heard that we're about to dust it off to find that land, so they put that pool. So we have a 50-meter pool, and these swimmers can swim in a standard facility, because a standard swimming pool for competition doesn't have deep end, shallow end. It's deep end. For those who didn't know, it's deep throughout. Yeah.
Wow, you've been some good energy throughout this.
Yeah.
And I really thank you. We have a special tradition which we are going to get back to.
Okay.
Right when we come back.
Okay.
Welcome back. Still, I remind you, you need to subscribe to The Game of Life with Andrew M on YouTube, because that's the best way to support us, so that we continue bringing you the very best of the guests, but also give you quality production. Back with my guest, Ganzi Mugula, the Olympian.
Yeah, Oli. Yeah.
So Ganzi, we have this beautiful tradition on The Game of Life, where the current guest gives a piece of advice or words of wisdom to the guest that will come on the show. Now, you do not know that guest, but before you, another guest was here, and they also left some beautiful message.
Yes.
And that message, if I could just read it for you verbally, this guest wished you to do the tough things now. So literally, do the tough things now. You shouldn't wait for tomorrow. So if you were to advise our next guest, what would you tell them?
So the advice that has been given to me by my pre-guest, if I can say, is actually rhyming with what my headmaster Samuel Busura at Budo used to say, that make hay while the sun still shines, because make hay while the sun still shines, because tomorrow is not promised. You understand? So it's good to do things now while they're still fresh, because tomorrow is not promised to us. So what advice can I give to the next guest who we don't know? Hypothetically, I would say, never ever give up on your passions. Always chase your passions. Never give up on your passions, whether in sports or in life, because always our passions get us to our blessings in life, which are aligned with our purpose that God has given us.
Wow. That's quite powerful, Ganzi. And thank you so much for honoring our invite. We don't take it for granted. You've made The Game of Life worth it, and I can tell you, you've shared quite some powerful stuff. Thank you once again.
Thank you
for making it. And I wish you all the best in whatever you're doing.
Thank you, sir.
And to everyone watching The Game of Life, We can't thank you enough. Thank you for trusting us, for supporting us, and for growing with us. And we would request that you continue helping us grow by going to YouTube, The Game of Life with Andrew M, and subscribing. And if you like this, please comment as well, like and share. And elsewhere on our social media handles, The Game of Life with Andrew, Mangusha, you won't miss it. Thank you once again. I'll see you on the next one.